and I will show you guys. Next up on the list, we have the Suicide Squad. Now, there is 2 different trailers to cover here for the Suicide Squad. First one is not Red Band. The first one is the regular trailer, and this one doesn't have it doesn't have the cursing, it doesn't have the like the sexual innuendos, that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and go through this one. I may go through the other one, but I'll just try to talk over the parts that I know are going to talk either dirty or curse. And you guys can check them out on your own time. You guys can check these out on YouTube or wherever you watch trailers. So let's go ahead and switch screens so you guys can see this. No, I'm sorry. This is the Suicide Squad. All right, here we go. The Suicide Squad here on Warner Bros. Pictures. Check it out.
Supervillains.
Supervillains. You said live fast, die clown.
Souls in costumes. Want you to think they're all dark.
Look at that. I think this may be like on a bus or something. Like maybe something happens where they all like lay down. They're like, everyone get down. And they're all laying down because they got Margot Robbie up here. I forget his name right here. John Cena is here. I always forget this guy. I'll check it out in just a second. I'll get his name for you guys. But anyway, one heck of a cast on this film. But I'm really loving the Peacemaker thing going on here with John Cena. I'm really excited for that.
What's the light? Live your life as a punchline.
King Shark.
Not all it would take. Would be one less act.
That's the Ratcatcher. Gender swapped Ratcatcher.
To restore your dignity in its entirety.
You know the deal. Complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence.
That's Weasel.
You fail to follow my orders in any way, and
Savant.
I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
Wait.
Base of your skull.
Wait a minute.
The explosive.
Oh, I'm trying to check this out. Watch. Wait.
You fail to follow my orders in any way.
King Shark reading that book upside
And I
down.
detonate.
Okay, so here we've got the little list of characters. Harley Quinn, Boomerang, Blackguard, Savant, TDK. I think that's the Detachable Kid is his name. And that may be a play on an old comic book character called, I think it's Arms Fall Off Boy. And it was just a ridiculous no-name character. This is something that we know that James Gunn loves to do, is he loves to take characters nobody else knows from the comics and make them somewhat important, right? Like Rocket, Groot, Gamora, Drax, Star-Lord. But we also get like Ego the Living Planet, you know, like in Marvel, he did a lot of that. Now over here on DC, he's definitely doing the exact same thing. He's doing Mongol, Javelin, Weasel, from what we can see here. There's a few others like Ratcatcher's not shown here, but we'll just see that. We'll just continue watching this trailer and then talk about it.
The explosive device in the base of your skull.
It's the same idea as the previous film.
These are your brothers.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. They got Pete Davidson as well. I always thought that he was drastically underused on SNL. He's really funny as a comedian. And I feel like they always put him in that. And he plays the role Chad as a recurring role on SNL. But I think it's kind of lazy. And I feel like it doesn't do a lot for him. And I feel like this probably, hopefully will. Although he's probably going to die.
This is for the next few days.
Any questions?
And
That is your hand. Very good.
We're all gonna die. I hope so. Oh, for God's sake.
That part right there, where they said from the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn, that one sort of creeped me out. If you guys know, like, for instance, obviously what they're doing here is they're saying that James Gunn is like an incredibly talented director, which is a fact. He's an amazing filmmaker, also a fact. But the horribly beautiful mind is what they're kind of celebrating the twistedness of his mind. And I think that may also be another jab at Disney letting him go in the first place. Because like we've talked about on my channel, I have a video where I did the Brightburn trailer reaction video, I think it was. And it was right after, like, obviously him doing Brightburn was following him getting fired over at Disney. And he wasn't the director for Brightburn. He was a producer. But nevertheless, it was still a project he was involved with. And I said at the time, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going to go to DC. He'll be jetting over to DC before he comes back to Marvel, and that did happen. And I said that it would probably be good for him to do the Suicide Squad, and here he is. He's doing it now. There was a few other people that were saying it as well, but I was one of the early ones, and I'm literally like, I'm nobody here on YouTube. I've got like 700 and I think I've got 730 subscribers total. And if you guys want to help me out, help me get that number up. Subscribe if you haven't already. But there was no reason why my video should have gotten that many views, but it's because I was one of the early people to put out my video. And I put out my video early, just giving my thoughts, sharing my thoughts, breaking it down on what I thought James Gunn was going to do, and he did exactly that. So he went from doing a superhero film with basically showcasing to DC at Sony, hey, I know how to make comic book films, and frick yeah, I can make a Superman film if you want to. But he totally didn't want to take up the Superman film. In fact, they're going in a different direction now. And I think the Suicide Squad is definitely something that is obviously more up James Gunn's alley. He was clearly able to take these obscure characters, tell a ridiculous story with hilarious, insane humor, looks like an acid trip, and just blow it up and make it one of the most successful films ever. And he looks like it's shaping up to do that again here with the Suicide Squad. Just everything about it looks so good from the trailer so far. But the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn kind of refers back to those tweets where he had like thousands of tweets with pedophile humor type stuff. I'm not accusing him of anything, but a lot of people took those tweets and was like, hey, we're pretty sure he's a, they're like, we think he's a pedophile. And I don't think that is necessarily the case. If it is, obviously there's going to be, like there'll be people that'll be coming forward and being like, hey, he touched my kid, or, like something like that. Maybe not, but I'm not making that assumption. Just that's what people were saying about the tweets. So I think what they're doing here with Warner Bros. Saying the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn, that reminded me of that whole situation, the entire situation, because I covered that. And I think they're kind of teasing that he tells dirty jokes. He's got a twisted sense of humor. He's bonkers zany out there. His brain just comes up with these gnarly, unfamiliar ideas of just like brilliant amazement. And he's able to make films really well because he's got that kind of imagination. His brain goes in that direction for one reason or another, just the way he was made, I guess. But that's what I think they were kind of teasing with that phrase, the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn, saying that it is disturbing, it is twisted, but it is also magical. And that's kind of like where they were going with that. So you can take whatever you want from that. But that was just something that came to my mind.
Oh, for God's sake.
See right there. And then the film looks really good so far. Weasel. I can't wait to see what they do with Polka Dot Man, or David Dastmalchian's character.
It's just suicide. Well, that's kind of our thing.
See there.
It's suicide.
Watch this.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Arms Fall Off Boy. Now, they call him TDK, which I believe is the detachable kid. But look at his chest logo. It's 2 arms, right? So his arms are able to detach, and I'm not sure what other powers he may or may not have. I haven't looked into him that much. But if maybe he's got some sort of regenerative abilities, but he's kind of doing, like Rayman, the video game, he's kind of doing that right now. So Rayman is totally just having a blast over here getting shot at. And maybe that's a bulletproof suit, I don't know why he would detach his arms in this particular situation. But it's hilarious, and it's Nathan Fillion, so it's going to be funny. So anyway.
Nothing like a bloodbath to start the day.
They call you Peacemaker.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill. Oh, yeah.
Wow. And then look, we got flipping Starro
failed mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have
Look at that.
personalized license plates, you die.
What?
The thinker.
No.
Wow. So I think that was a really good trailer. I think the footage so far looks really good. It seems to be that his shots are like really crisp, clean, and vibrant. And that is a trademark of James Gunn's, although crisp, clean, and vibrant wasn't exactly what happened in Brightburn. But I thought Brightburn was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a horror film guy, but I mean, I was able to enjoy it. So with the Suicide Squad, that's the regular that's the Rebellion trailer. That's what they're calling it, Rebellion trailer. There is a Red Band trailer. I will say that this trailer makes it look like a cool action movie, like a superhero action film. However, the Red Band trailer definitely feels a lot more like a James Gunn movie. So now, if you guys want, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the Red Band trailer. Now, you guys can see this here. This is a warning, okay? So there will be some language. There will be some dirty jokes. And so just, if you want to continue down that path, you can stick around. I'm going to, I'll try to talk over the parts where they're cursing, just so that way, hopefully it's not so abrupt if that's something you don't want to be subject to. That's not something I normally show or have on my channel, but I did want to give you like a little bit of a contrast. Like the music's different, the feel is different, the shots they use are different, and it definitely does feel like a different trailer, not like just they added in cussing. So, and this one I think feels a little more James Gunn. Go ahead and play this.
Okay. You're gonna risk the entire mission for a mental defective dressed as a court jester.
This coming from a guy that wears a toilet seat on his head.
We don't leave one of our own behind.
Hopefully they're probably still alive.
No funny business, Colonel. These are dangerous people.
So this one clearly shows they're trying to rescue Harley.
CO2 is clear to go.
Fire. 3, 2.
What are you guys doing?
What? We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Love sport.
And then it drops into this chill song.
You know the deal. Successfully complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence.
He's taking TP off his shoe.
You fail to follow my orders in any way, and I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
Do the job. So this is the famous Suicide Squad.
And there's the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn yet again. I like this one because it shows Jai Courtney a little bit more. That does make me worried, though, that he might be one of the ones to die early on, and that makes me sad. I really liked his character in the Suicide Squad. I don't know, or in Suicide Squad, the first one. I don't know what they're gonna do with this one. I bet you his character dies. I bet you Jai Courtney's dies, and I bet you Idris Elba dies. I bet there's going to be a lot of death probably in this one. It's the Suicide Squad, so they're definitely expendable. And, I think that just already seeing the tone of this trailer gives us a different picture than we saw from the generic Rebellion trailer of the first trailer. The first one just felt like another superhero film type of thing. This one is clearly setting up the fact, okay, these guys are totally going to die. They're planting the stuff in the base of the skull, the explosive, so at any point, Amanda Waller, who is a dark soul, can boom, blast their head off if they get out of line. And that's the nature of this. It's kind of like DC. Like there's the Thunderbolts. There's the Thunderbolts, the Dark Avengers in Marvel. They got these guys here for the Suicide Squad. And it's totally against their will, but they just want to not die. Heard a rumor about that, the Mr. Pibb thing being there. I think that's James Gunn's favorite drink, if I'm remembering correctly. And I think that's supposed to be just like a little nod to that fact. Wait a minute, go back. Look at that. The red and black costume of Harley Quinn. I think that's really cool. It's, you know, it's really interesting. Like over the years, there's been a bunch of different costumes for Harley Quinn. And this is one that my wife even did a cosplay for this black and red one for a Comic-Con one time. I really like the black and red. I think they actually used black and red for the DC Universe Online clip, like the trailer for that one that intros the game. And she hands Joker a bazooka and he fires it off. And I think I can't remember who was hanging. Was it Batman? I think Batman was probably like hanging from a rope or something like around his shoulders, and he shoots him with a bazooka and kills him or something like that. And there's just like a bunch of mayhem going on, but this is pretty cool. I like this costume.
Nom nom.
Nom nom.
Any questions?
Wow.
And
That was in the other trailer.
That is your hand. Very good.
we're all gonna die. I hope so. For fuck's sake.
So there was our first, I think that was the first cuss word if I was paying attention. So sorry about that, but there will be some cursing in this film, of course. I think it might even be a rated R film. It might be. I don't remember. It's probably rated R. If they have the ability to do rated R, they will go rated R. Maybe there'll be a rated R cut of the film. I don't know, but if it is, I hope for the majority of it, it's violence that gets it to that rated R. I don't mind the violence personally, and so you know, if it's cussing, it's like it seems a little like it's okay, but like it's excessive. I don't curse. But if somebody like if they go into like the like sexual content and that kind of stuff, jokes I'm fine with, but the you know, like if they show Harley Quinn like dressed down or something, undressed, I'm not about trying to watch that.
Here's the deal.
That's not why I watch superhero films.
We failed the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough with that cover your mouth.
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
They go for that COVID line right there.
What's the plan?
Although it has always been polite. Just cover your mouth.
What the hell am I supposed to know?
You're the leader. You're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
But this whole beach was completely...
This is where they use the D word a few times.
You're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
But this whole beach was completely covered in dick.
Bleep.
If somebody said I'd eat every dick
Bleep.
until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
I remember when I saw this trailer for the first time. This is not the first time I'm watching these trailers, but that when I saw that joke for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, like that when he said like you're a D, and then he's like, if someone said that the whole beach was covered in D's and I had to eat in order for liberty, I would say no problemo. I rolled my eyes at that part, but it was the line he delivers after that made me bust up laughing, because the chick's like, why would the beach be covered in you know, peepees? And he goes, who knows why madmen do what they do? And it's just like that line to me was just absurd and hilarious, and I did appreciate that part. I rolled my eyes at everything else and I was like, okay, that was fun. Uh-oh, did you see that? Look at Bloodsport right here. It looks like he takes a tumble.
This is suicide. Well, that's kind of our thing.
Wow.
Are you worried? Want to get you out of here alive?
I'm going to get you out of here alive.
That is what I'm looking forward to. Starro.
Oh my god! We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit!
He said it! Alright, look at this. Look at this on his screen.
Oh my god! We've got a freaking kaiju!
You can see, let me just mouse it right here. You can see right here that Starro is tearing up this city block or whatever. And he looks freaking awesome. He looks huge. I'm a huge sucker for kaiju films. I grew up on Godzilla. I love Pacific Rim. I'm a big Power Rangers fan, so like watching the giant monsters fight the Zords, the Megazords and whatnot. And then, you know, like Voltron, you know, like anything with a giant robot or a giant creature, monster is what I like. And I don't need that great of a story to enjoy it, because I'm used to the old Godzilla films where the story was trash, the dialogue was trash, and you were there to just watch the monsters fight. And to me, I can get down with some of this stuff, but it's pretty funny to watch, like, for instance, James Gunn throwing a character like Starro, who was a Justice League, like a really old bad guy for the Justice. I think he might have been the first Justice League bad guy, but they're using him here, kaiju, full on kaiju style, because he is a giant monster, alien, who comes to Earth, and then all these little mini starfish just fly out from him, and they connect. They do face suckers on your face and just stay there, and then he mind controls you with hive mind. So, to me, this is going to get wild. This is going to get nuts. We're probably going to see several of the Suicide Squad using their skills against the other ones, because they're being mind controlled. And I think Amanda Waller is going to be stone cold hearted enough to be like, oh, they got face suckered, boom, and just blow the head off of them, blow that starfish right off their face with their head. And I bet you it's going to get really, really crazy. But I'm really excited by that. When he said kaiju, and he said kaiju, that's what made me excited, was he just went for it. We got a freaking kaiju up in this, you know, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool they do. So I've never in my life been excited about Starro, but I am now. And that to me is, I think, the genius of, for instance, someone like James Gunn, who takes these obscure characters that nobody else would put 2 dimes betting on to be like a successful story, and he makes Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He took Brightburn, which nobody wanted to touch Superman. He made evil Superman, and then did like a really like alternate version of that as a producer. Then he comes over here. Now he's doing this, and that's kind of his MO. He likes to take the oddballs. He likes to take the guys that were forgotten, and he likes to make them important again, which I think is a really cool idea. And I wish more people would do things closer to that. Like, for instance, Marvel could even stand to do that a lot more. Like, they're trying to start with their top tier, their B tier, and then work down into the other stuff. There's so many other characters they could just be making content for, but they just don't have the balls or the maybe they're just trying to play this really, really long game and stretch out their content. It's like, you don't have to go in that structure order. I understand if you want to build certain X-Men before the next ones or whatever, like as you're progressing into phase 5, phase 6 of Marvel. But you could also just have someone like James Gunn pull Rocket and Groot out and be like, okay, you're new main stars, right? They were in Endgame because James Gunn had the guts to do them, right? So that's what I'm saying, is like, you could do what you want and build with that. So anyway. Whoa! And the music, it's so James Gunn.
Like angels are smooching all over us.
And all this inappropriate. Look at that lineup. That is an insane. That was his name, Joel Kinnaman. I always forget. Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, Peter Capaldi as the Thinker, David Dastmalchian, Polka Dot Man, Danielle Melchior, Michael Rooker, Alice Braga, Pete Davidson, Joaquin Cosio, Juan Diego Boto, Storm Reed, Nathan Fillion, Taika Waititi. By the way, we still don't know who Taika Waititi's playing. I'm guessing it might be Starro. Steve Eggy, Sean Gunn, Flula Borg, Mailing Ong, Tanashi Kajisi Bolden, Jennifer Holland, Julio Cesar Ruiz, and with Sylvester Stallone and Viola Davis. I think Sylvester Stallone may be voicing King Shark. That'd be awesome. And I would love to see Sly doing a lot more with comic book. Anyway, that's pretty much the Red Band trailer. I don't think there's anything else. Oh wait, look, Zack Snyder is an executive producer here. That is an important thing to note here. But it's pretty cool. I mean, Zack Snyder is a producer on almost all of the DCEU films because he was supposed to be the one heading up all these things, right? He did Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman. He started the Justice League, then the Whedon cut ended up taking its place. I say they just kick it out. I say they kick the Whedon cut out and just make the Snyder cut canon. It was what was supposed to happen anyway, and it gives that through line for Cyborg and for Flash and for Wonder Woman in a way that is so much more fulfilling for their stories. It allows for those stories to be told. The Flash's story was not told. Cyborg's story was not told in the Whedon cut, in the Justice League. But in Zack Snyder's Justice League, they did. And none of the other films after the Justice League film are actually directly connected in a timeline fashion, because there's nothing that connects them in a way that makes it so that, oh, like if you see this one, you have to see the next one in this order, or like you have to see the next one in this order. There's nothing that does that. Wonder Woman 1984 takes place as a prequel, but it is distinct. It does not cross into the realm of the other films in a way that makes it it has to be connected to the Joss Whedon version, not the Snyderverse, or like those things it doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. So that to me is like, hey, just replace the Whedon version. Just take it out and just tell the world, just make a public service announcement, saying Zack Snyder's Justice League is well received by both critics and by the fans, and we are going to make it retroactively canon in place of the Joss Whedon version. Thank you, Joss Whedon, for stepping in a critical time when you were both wanted and needed, and you did what we asked you to do. But we're going to reinstate Zack Snyder's Justice League as the primary Justice League, by both demand and because it just makes sense. So I think that's probably a good thing. Now, plus it'll also allow Warner Bros. to peel away from what happened with Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher has been saying a lot of stuff about Joss Whedon, and they're not very good. And if you want to clarify your thoughts on that, if you want to stand by Joss Whedon, you can make those statements. I would recommend, if you're going to do that, you better lay out a solid case for why you're doing that and why the claims made against him are not accurate, if they're not accurate. But if they are accurate and you don't want to side with him, I would say this is actually probably the answer. Just be like, hey, we are going to make the Snyder Cut, which was in the original intent for Justice League. It was Zack Snyder's original vision, and it was his project. And it is, since now it's been released, it is also critically praised by critics and also by fans. It is well received all the way around, and it will make more sense for our films ongoing and our cinematic universe to recanonize the Snyder Cut in place of the Justice League. So to me, I think that's probably the way to go. And it looks like we've got Daniel's Hot Topics is back here in the comments. Oh, and I missed a comment from Hunter Iggy. Hunter Iggy said, what is your thoughts on WB want to erase the Zack Snyder Justice League cut by using the Flash movie to bring in the multiverse Justice League? I don't know. I haven't heard about them wanting to erase the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. I hope they erase the Joss Whedon cut and make the Snyder cut the one that is actually the real one. And I hope that the Flash movie doesn't undo the Zack Snyder version. I hope that what it does is it allows multiple possibilities to be true at the same time. And that's where it looks like the Loki TV show on Marvel's side is going. They're actually going to show exactly what they showed in Endgame with what's the Ancient One. The Ancient One, when Hulk went to go get the Time Stone from the Ancient One, there was that line, right? She shows that line. It's coming out this way. And then they said, if you take an Infinity Stone out of where it's supposed to be, you're actually creating a splinter in the timeline. So it's not, you're not actually just messing up one timeline. You're creating splinter timelines that are shooting out up and down, and they're curling up towards doom or down towards doom. And you have, you want to try to get those timelines back closed back into like one stream if you can. And that's why Steve had to go back and bring the stones back to their original place where they found them. Loki, however, escaped using the Tesseract and was able to avoid his impending doom from Infinity War when Thanos crushes his throat. So we're going to see the Loki from that alternate timeline after Endgame, right? He goes back, he's trying to get the stones back. We see Loki dip out with the Tesseract. That is something that is going to mess with the timeline. And I think that with the Flash movie, in a similar way, they're going to show splinter or multiverse timelines. I don't think that erases the Zack Snyder verse. Maybe they're going to focus on a different version. Like if they want to say, you know what, we're going with a new continuity moving forward. It's going to be Flashpoint from now on. It's its own thing, technically. And I don't want to give too much away here if you guys haven't seen the Snyder Cut, but the Snyder Cut allows for these possibilities. And you should check it out if you haven't already. I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but I think you're thinking along the same track. I'm assuming you did see the Snyder Cut. So anyways, Daniel's Hot Topics has a bunch of questions, but I'm going to go ahead and get to those at a later point towards the end of the video. I've got a couple more trailers I wanted to show, so stick with me for just 1 second. Just to finish off, the Suicide Squad comes into theaters August 6th, 2021. That's later this year. I'm very excited for that. I totally want to go see this. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. And also, if you haven't already, I already went over the cast, but you can go ahead and check it out for yourself on IMDb. And you can see this insane lineup. Also, by the way, there's like a ton of little names here, like for instance, Lab Patient or Soldier or Club Patron, Palace Guard, things that can kind of give you like a little bit of like, hey, what's going on here? If you want to, but like Ratcatcher 2, Savant. Anyway, we already went over the list, but you guys enjoy. And that's the Suicide Squad trailer and Red Band trailer. So the Rebellion trailer and the Red Band. So let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. All right. So now let's go.